Music lovers and music haters, let's all gather here. This is Phara City, according to Loux. Oh brother, 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 oh brother. You can separate the phenomenon of speechlessness into two categories. Good speechlessness and there's bad. Good speechlessness is like the first time I saw Lady Zamar's legs, or the first time I held my son, or the first time I heard Baninzi by The Soil, or the first time I heard Theo Songstress sing. Good speechless. And then there's bad speechless. Like the time I found out my girl has a crush on Oscar Mbo. And this whole time I thought her type was morbidly obese niggas with freckles and vitiligo. What a surprise. Bad speechlessness. Like the time I saw that picture of Verb and Slicker naked on a ladder. Bad speechlessness, like when K-Kid refused to jump on the pro beat. She was probably right to refuse to freestyle because some of the niggas that jumped on that beat afterwards trying to prove a point should have left that the fuck alone.
Why? Why?
This album is definitely the latter. This is bad speechless. Very disappointing. And here's my thing. When you give an album a title, it's the same as giving a book a title. It's the same as giving a movie a title. You sort of set an expectation, right? You hear the title and you're like, okay, cool. I might hear this, I might hear that. You look at Skanda Republic, for example. Skanda Republic, from the title to the album cover to the sonics, it all makes sense, right? It all feels like one picture. It all feels like there was one vision. I don't get that with Phara City. I expected an album, not really a concept album, so to speak, but an album that sort of captures the essence of Ubupara, you know, the criminal lifestyle, the drug addiction, the stories of the hood, stories of the inner city struggle. And this album just doesn't do that for me. It fails to capture any of that in a significant way. You know, the album opens up with a very decent intro. It's a very dope intro. It has a sample of a solemn hymn that I just don't understand. I feel like it's out of place. But the moment the beat switches and KO goes off, it all comes to life. You know, he raps about the hood struggles. You know, he's sort of a reflection of the stuff that goes on in the neighborhoods, what the criminals do, what the good people do, and all of the above. There's a sample there that's a bridge between the two verses, which again just serves more as a distraction than anything. You know, I feel like the hymn was supposed to give this intro some sort of gravity to it and a sort of seriousness to it, but it really fails to give it any of that. It falls flat. And it really could have done without. I'm not really happy with it, but you know, the rapping really saves it. The second joint on this is Hush Money, which I feel like this is where KO really jumps in to Phara City. I would have been happy with this as the intro, to be honest, because with Hush Money, he sort of speaks from a perspective of a mob boss, if you will. Criminal underlord, one who's ruthless enough to fire his pool boy for fucking up his pool, but is also struggling to balance being a father, struggling to balance being a good husband, and just being a good citizen. The beat is very chilled, it's very mellow. It almost gives you a sense of a mafioso rap in a sense. It also incorporates some 808 elements. There's drums there that are really good, one that you'd really enjoy listening to. I think the hook on it is not bad at all. It's really one of my favorite cuts. When I think about this album and what I wanted it to sound like, I think this alongside Maleven is what I wanted. This is what I wanted to hear, because he speaks about the things that I would expect him to speak about in a way that really encapsulates everything and captures the essence. Maleven is a bit more grimier, it's darker, it's harder. You know, obviously it samples a documentary where Maleven says he's going to put the kid in the microwave.
I put him like this to the oven. Then you see I want money.
It's my favorite shit ever. Dark, morbid, I know, but it is what it is. A part of South African culture now. It's an important part of our art history. Can't avoid it. But these two songs, I feel these were the songs that were supposed to build the entire sound around, the entire vision around. They're supposed to be built around these two songs, thematically, sonically. It just works for me, right? And it would have made it sound like Skanda Republic, you know, and not in a bad way, because it's not a bad thing to try and recapture that genius, to try and capture that lightning in a bottle, if you will, because it was a great album. It ticks all the boxes for what a classic album should be. Not what we've heard from KO after, because Skanda Republic 2 was trash. There's another album after that I'm glad I don't remember. I guess someone did the whole Man in Black thing, and whoever you are, thank you, Jesus. Skanda Republic 3 was quite decent as well. Not really forgettable, but also not memorable. It's not one where if someone says, oh, what's your favorite KO album? And you're like, oh yeah, SK3. I don't think anyone would. So it's really on the lower side of things, but it's not as bad as that other one that I don't remember. And him trying to go back to the first Skanda Republic wouldn't be a bad thing, you know, as long as he's not repeating that material or jumping on the same beats, because we don't really need a reprise. We just need him to go back, figure out what is perfect about that album, and try to make something like that again. Artists do that all the time. We've seen Hove do it. We've seen Nas do it. There's nothing wrong with reheating your nachos, if you will. Reheat the nachos. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You know what works, stick to it. Everything that I found great about Skanda is lacking here. The songs like Cold Night, Summer to Remember, which again fall flat. They fail to capture the imagery that Malevan captured, that Hush Money captured. They fail to tell a story that is in line with what you would hope the album would be about, you know. And there's certain other songs on the album that really give you that, you know, that way he tells these stories, where he relays these narratives. These two songs don't. In fact, I will add Joiner to the list of songs that really don't have a place here, you know, not bad songs, so to speak. Don't get me wrong. They are technically very decent songs. Cross Night is a good song. It's one of those vibey, having a good time, top-down type records, which I don't understand where this fits into the whole Phara narrative, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not what he was going for. And if it isn't what he was going for in terms of the vision of the album and the creative direction of the album, then I think KO lost the thing that again made Skanda Republic so great, which was the intentionality of it all. He knew what he wanted to make, and I think here he was unsure. Maybe these two songs were just made for the radio, which is exactly what they sound like. You know, we're talking about smooth drums, soft melodies, very feel good. You know, again, stuff you play in the car with your friends, stuff that's going to play in the club. I imagine the streams for these two records are going to go crazy. But again, it just doesn't fit for me. It doesn't suit the narrative. It doesn't match anything that's supposed to be on here. Join, again, it sounds like a B-side of Summer to Remember, which is funny because Summer to Remember is it's not a memorable song too. It's really a misnomer. You could have just called it Jellyfish or something, because it's not great. It's not a bad song, but it's not one that I'm going to remember. It's one that I'm going to skip quite often, for the sake of having some sort of cohesiveness sonically. The rapping isn't bad, because KO isn't a bad rapper, not by any stretch. Except I don't understand what he does on this album with all of the para puns, you know, paradise, paraplegic, paralyzed. Why? I don't know where we're going with that. I think for me, that's the only thing on this album that is uniform. His obvious love for the word para and the puns that come with it. Which brings us to the next joint, Paradise, which features Young Stunner. It's one of the more realer, down-to-earth cuts on this record. It's very mature. You know, he speaks about the hardships of being poor and those hardships leading to bad decisions that lead to more bad decisions as a result. It's really a song that talks about what leads people astray, you know, and the stubbornness that comes with sticking on that path, or sticking to that path rather. It's a beautiful song. The message is great. Young Stunner's hook is incredible. It's really good. Can't hate on him much. He's incredible at that. So shout outs to you, young man. The production is dope. There's a beat switch at the end, which is really cinematic, adds to the drama. I wish it was longer. Honestly, in fact, I wish it was a completely separate song as well, because it would have been nice to hear what KO would do with it. Maybe old KO, because I don't trust the new KO with that. Or maybe just giving it to Young Stunner and let him run with it. But it's a very, very dope song. Again, sonically, it deviates from the other songs on the album. But I mean, I can't be mad at it too much. I feel like every album needs a song like this. I just wish that he used this particular song as a reference point when writing the rest of the album. Because if you have this strong song, very mature, very deep song that tells a real story, and the rest of your songs are just neither here nor there, you sort of betray this very strong record, which should have been the centerpiece of this project. Great song nonetheless. I like it. You know, if when the time comes for me to delete the rest of this album, I'll probably keep this one. Really dope song. The next joint is called Phara Love. I don't have much to say about this particular record. If you've heard Gangster Love from Skanda Republic, this is exactly that. It's the same song without the magic of Nandi. Look, no disrespect to Black Diamond and everything, but yeah, I'm gonna prefer the original over this one. It's a poor song. It's a poor song. It makes you think about the original, and the original is way better. The original is way better. I don't know what the idea was here. You know, maybe they're looking for some sort of continuity, you know, continuing the story of Gangster Love. I don't get it, but shout outs to you. The one thing about this song though that I'm gonna remember till the day I die is that it has one of the worst bars I've ever heard. This nigga said, "I've always been allergic to a phony woman, a parasite. BBL makeup angeke ifihle your parasite." I can't believe it. I'm flabbergasted. I don't know why you would write that.
Why?
You wrote that down. You thought of it. You wrote it down. Stepped in front of a microphone and said it with all the confidence in the world. And nobody in the studio said, nah, this ain't it. Luckily, Big Bro Loux here to say, nah, this ain't it. Actually, I'm gonna go as far as saying, I once said Muesli's Spirit of an OG was the Muppet version of Skanda Republic. I apologize, Muesli. This shit is the Muppet version of Skanda Republic. I take back everything I said. Or maybe both of y'all is Muppets, but that's neither here nor there. The following joint on here is no chorus. See, this is the version of KO I like, where he's just rapping. It's just straight bars. He's not fucking around. The production is very New York boom bap. It will take you back. This is for the guys like us that used to beat on the table at school. I'm lying, I never used to do that, but I say that because I have to be ahead and whatnot. I never did none of that. I only started rapping when I was 30, but never mind that. But for all the niggas, they used to beat on the table and annoy the rest of us in science class, trying to rap with your little sway hats, talking about your pyramids and your Illuminatis. This song is for you. This production is amazing. It's very simple. The drums are crazy. It doesn't do too much. It doesn't do too much. And KO stays in that lane with it. You know, he just raps straight, very slick, very sharp, very hard, to the point, on the nose, and it's lousy with metaphor. So if you like rapping KO, not the singing, whiny, no, not that guy. If you like bars KO, this is yours. You need to go listen to this joint. You haven't bumped it yet, go bump it. You're gonna love it. The next joint on this is called Thokoza. Thokoza is a star-studded event featuring MT and 25K and Naledi. Naledi Apiwe is incredible. Her vocals are smooth. She kicks the song off, sounds very laid back, melancholic even. And then the beat switches and we jump into the more hip-hop vibey stuff. It's a really dope rap R&B ballad where the guys talk about their status in the game, them being thankful for their success. It's very groovy. Again, shout outs to Lunatic. This beat is really dope. This beat is incredible. In as much as I'm not a big fan of the other two guys on the joint lyrically, not a big fan of MT lyrically, I'm not a big fan of 25K lyrically, but I feel like they do their job. They don't have to rap at an elite level to make a song good, and all three of these guys blend well to make what would have been a very dry song without them. They took that and turned it into something magical, and this for me is what a collab should be. You know, it's not always about rapping better than the other guy. You know, sometimes you just need to blend, and that for me is done very well here. I really wish Naledi had a bigger part to play in the song. I don't know why, but I think I'm falling in love with her abilities. She's really good. I look forward to her dropping music as well, because she absolutely killed this. Definitely my highlight of the song. But coming off the high of Thokoza, you jump straight into the lowest of lows with a song called GPS. GPS, GPS and the equally rubbish California. And I know some people will disagree with me, but if your chorus is rhyming California with California, please get the fuck out of my face. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. I don't care how good the sonics are. I don't care how good the beat is. Because again, shout out to Lunatic. I'm going to say something. Lunatic did a whole lot of heavy lifting on here. Not just on this song, but across the entirety of this album. But we'll talk about that at the end. But these two joints in particular, these two joints are so bad, they've completely changed my concept of hell. See, I'm a Christian. I believe hell is fire, brimstone, the girl from Soweto stabbing you with a pitchfork, asking you for savannas and all of that. After listening to these two songs, my concept of hell is that you're forced to listen to them for all of eternity. And every time you try to press stop, the only thing you hear is KO doing his cartoonish laugh. You know where he goes, no. That shit annoys the fuck out of me. And that's all you hear for all of eternity. I don't know who thought these two songs are great and that they belong on this album, because they absolutely don't. GPS in particular should have stayed in the vault, should not have left the hard drive. And what pisses me off about it is that it has a strong message, right? This song is a cautionary tale, really. It talks to women. He speaks to women. He tells a story of a lady who's losing her way, starts drinking a lot, starts messing around with the wrong guys, starts neglecting her duties at home, parents can't find her, and just the normal city girl stuff that we see in the hood all the time. He betrays this message with the cartoonish delivery and the equally cartoonish chorus. I don't know what he was thinking. I feel like if you're gonna tackle a subject like that, you need to step to the mic with the gravity that this type of message deserves, and he does nothing. He does nothing of the sort, nothing even remotely close. So I don't know whether he did that on purpose to try to make the song easier to swallow, but it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's, sometimes as an artist, when you're working on something, there's certain songs that are a reference point, the song inspires you to make a song that's like it. Ghetto Science by Pro, I feel like, is the song he should have listened to before making this. In fact, he should have listened to it after making this and stood in front of the mirror, slapped himself 3 times, because this is nothing like that, despite the fact that both songs were aiming for the exact same message with the exact same target. It again speaks to his level of lyricism. He's just not an MC that you're going to take seriously from time to time. I think he plays around too much, and on this one, I don't know what game he was playing, but it's a nonsense song. Great message, but everything else about it is just poor. It's just really poor. And again, in typical KO fashion, we go from low to another high with Supernova, which features Casper and samples I Love Music by Lebo Mathosa, one of the most important songs in SA music history. This is a song with 0 haters. Everyone loves the song. This is a song that belongs in the museum. This is the ladies and legs of music in as far as our industry is concerned. So I'm always concerned when someone samples the song, because honestly, if the producer doesn't fuck it up, like with that Kaifa Semenya song that, R.I.P. dude, that he made, that Kaifa Semenya sample was terrible, We've heard a lot of really good songs be sampled and the producers don't do it any justice. If the producer's not fucking it up, it's the artist fucking it up, taking the song in a completely different direction. There's certain samples where I feel like you should let the sample guide your pen. And I Love Music is one of those. If you don't have a strong pen, this is just one of those samples you need to stay away from. And surprisingly, everyone involved in the making of this record showed up for work. And I applaud all of them. I've been very critical of Casper as a rapper as of late, but he jumps on this verse, and it's really some of the best rapping he's done in a while. He's very relaxed, he's very laid back. A lot of people accused him of destroying and ruining Ingutu by being too energetic and just jumping out the bag like that. And I feel like on this particular record, he respected what the song was about and delivered a verse that actually matches the energy of the song, matches KO's energy as well. Again, shout out to Lunatic. This is probably one of the best beats you've ever made. You're God for this. You're God for this. This maintains the soulfulness, the smoothness, the softness of the original record with 808s that really help bring it into the new without betraying that nostalgic feel of the original song. And I applaud you for that, because a lot of people would have gone a completely different direction here. And you absolutely nailed it. I'm very happy with the song. Again, another one of my favorites. What anchors this album is a song that I feel like is perfect for where it's placed on the album. I'm very big on sequencing, and this is done perfectly. Push It is it's a song that's no different from joints like Joiner, or Summer to Remember. It's again just grimy. It's a street anthem, very bass heavy, very heavy strings. It platforms a more hardcore version of KO, which again I love. But again, he's just flexing, he's just rapping, he's going off, he's talking his shit. Really, he's talking his shit, and he's really one of the best shit talkers in the game. I think there's very few MCs that can match his wit, especially in the mainstream. Questa can, because Questa's Questa. Questa does what he does. I think Kid X as well. He's another one who's really slick like that. But there's just certain lines that KO drops, and his delivery is really, really good. And I listen to him, I think he's a mainstream version of Royce the 5'9" in the way that he structures his flows and he structures his rhyme schemes. Actually, absolutely love it, and this beat is perfect for him. And I think it's the perfect anchor for this album, because from a message point of view, and again, sonically, it sort of encapsulates everything that I wanted this album to be about. I think if you're going to put out an album like this, you need to go street. Something I can imagine a Phara would bump, something that makes you sound hardcore, because that's what being a Phara has always been about. You're a junkie, you're druggy, you're a criminal, you're this, that, and a third. If the music on your album about Pharas doesn't capture any of that, you basically wasted everybody's time. And that ultimately is my problem with this project. It has some very strong moments. The features were selected perfectly. I have no problem there. Definitely give him a 10 for the features. Lyrically, I can't say much about him lyrically on this one. I think he's lost his hunger, and as far as his pen is concerned, I'm not saying he's not hungry in the sense that like he's not trying to push. He lost his work ethic. Nah, I just think he lost the hunger to be a good MC. And every now and then it's great to see someone step in that bag. It's great to hear someone who's been in the mainstream jump in there, because we see Cooley do it all the time. Cooley does it all the time. Casper, for all the criticism he gets, he sometimes knows when it's time to go, and I think KO needs to get to that point as well, where it's time to go. Because you've proven yourself in the mainstream. You've given us Sete, one of the best songs I've ever heard. So, maybe it's time to jump back to being the rapper that we know you can be, so that the next time you call yourself one of the best rappers in the country, none of us can disagree with it. Production wise, Lunatic, you did your best. This is incredible. Again, there's just certain songs where the beat wasn't bad. Everything about it is good. It's just that the song didn't fit the album. Not a bad look. Maybe if it was sequenced better, the songs would have made sense. Or maybe if it was a double disc, then you would have made room for those songs without betraying the overall sonics of it. But apart from that, the production is really dope. Overall, I'd give this a 6 out of 10. It has low moments, certain songs that I wish I'd never heard and I will try not to hear ever again. But it has highs. It has really good moments. Like I said, the features are great. Some of the rapping is half decent. Some of it is pretty decent. He jumps into his rapper bag every now and then. He jumps in it enough for me to be happy, but not happy enough to give it a 7 or an 8 or a 9. I don't think he's capable of a 10 again after Skanda Republic, to be honest. But I think a 6 sounds like a fair rating, all things considered. But that's Phara City, according to Loux. If you disagree, let me know. If you agree, let me know. This is one of those where I'm not going to fight anybody. Your opinion is right. My opinion is right. We'll respect it as it is. Maybe it's just a question of, eyes not meeting the way they should. Maybe you're not the same level when it comes to hip hop, because I'm certain there's people that are going to love this. I'm certainly not one of them, but we'll talk about it in the comment section. This is Phara City, according to Loux. Peace out.